Hello and welcome to Cities in Review. This video will be about 20 to 30 minutes that reviews the city of Avalon that was built on the Cape Apple map for Plazas and Promenades DLC. I'll be stepping through the city in the order it was built, which matches the order of the Let's Play episodes in the Avalon playlist. I'll spend about 1 to 2 minutes showcasing each area and pointing out some of the highlights of that area. I'll wrap up by running through some of the stats of the city. If you want to see a specific area in more detail, you can always go to the Avalon Let's Play playlist. Let's get started by taking a look at this area here. This is where the city began. It's a mostly light density area with a mix of high density European suburbia on the left and some mid-century modern on the right. This is a more organic road layout. We can dive down to the left where we have our first pedestrian area around the new P&P train and metro station. In this city, I did my best to blend in the boundary edge, which worked out well in this European suburbia mixed with high-density European area. The homes are spaced out, especially as you get closer to the mountain, to convey a drop in density as we move towards the boundary. Some of the high-density apartments have small parts of pedestrian paths. A really nice high school, one not on fire, with a nice football field. The ore industry up in the mountain, which has a mix of industries DLC and specialization. Also a few unique factories and generic industry with cargo station that runs to the next area we'll look at next. Adjacent, we have a nice mix of high-density North American and mid-century modern buildings. There is biking everywhere in the city, around 2,000 bikers, headed towards the train and metro station, as well as across the highway into the next area. Before we do that, let's check out this spot at the edge of the city. A nice rock feature with rock slide. I just wanted to point out here that I inserted residential roads like the new 3-lane and this 2-lane one-way concrete bridge to slow down the highway and make it less attractive to drivers. The highway is also only 2 lanes versus the standard 3 lanes. In the corner here we have a park and ride, so tourists can park here and ride the metro into the city. It's also paired with the inner city bus station. And some monorail track as a guardrail. A cool bit of detailing with the metro bridge over maybe a flood river that runs in heavy rain. I had intended on building a power plant area where this 4-lane road goes, but never got to it. The oil industry has the petroleum refinery as a centerpiece, a few pedestrian paths and docks. Here's the layout of Area 2, organic with a main road running through that has a lot of industrial activity. The oil extracting area. I use the seabed mining vessel as a moored ship at the dock. A uniform housing area that was built by the oil industry for their employees. The city's busiest cargo station. A transit hub with train, metro, bus, and bike. I like the use of the elevation in this spot. The biking runs on the roads down towards the airport. Next, I built a water feature which flows in two directions. Down to this area is a lake, and the other side coming down through the forestry and farming, then into the campus area. From the campus, it runs back out towards the river near the farm, while the river runs by the beach and out. Here's the layout of the campus area. The campus is built on PMP paths and is mixed with some high-density self-sufficient. Some really awesome detailing in here. There are a few trams in this area, like this one here connecting to the metro station across the highway, as well as metro that runs through here in two directions. Biking runs under the highway to this area as well. Really nice storm area. The train line is bordered by some tiles down in the PMP section, with power line and biking running along it. Bypass train station accepts intercity trains, which connects to the metro system. The third area is here, a mix of all kinds of zoning. This area was meant to be light and sparse at the edge of the city and blend into the environment. There are also 5 mansions along the river, a self-sufficient area. Here you can see the blend of the city into the boundary. A nice high-density European apartment complex on pedestrian paths. You can see the service points for this area are in the campus area, so just so you know, the service points don't necessarily have to be adjacent to the pedestrian area that they serve. The Metro train hub. Nice Heart of Korea spot. Then a beautiful boardwalk. A couple of apartments. Ferry and biking that runs down the river. The other park and ride. Our first mansion. Then a beach spot with some parking. The second and third mansion. These mansions are made using high-density European buildings. I know I'm zipping through this pretty quick, so don't forget that there are episodes associated with each area in the Avalon List playlist, with each video being about 5 to 10 minutes. As that area and the campus area were filling in, the unemployment was getting into the 20s, so I built the forestry, then farming industry. Both have a mix of industries, DLC, and specialization. The plantations are hidden amongst the trees. A spot that was recently harvested. A spot where trees are in various growth stages. There's a lot of rail in this area. Another busy cargo train station with service points that serve a distant Area 8. The farmland. Farms with dirt textured tiling to represent the fields being turned over. A nice horse stable with horse trails. The pastures with some tiles to represent pastures being left alone so that they can grow back. A spot with flour mills. Here's the bird and bee haven with organic and local produce. A spot where you can purchase local fresh products. Next is Area 5. This area has a nice pedestrian spot served by tram and metro. There are a lot of cool buildings in here and detail. These 2x2 level 1 Heart of Korea make a beautiful pink glow at night. A spot where I extended the plaza using matching tiles. A set of high-density European neighborhoods on PMP paths. Another example of extending the plaza. Another pedestrian area where the tram turns around and links to the ferry. The ferry goes to Area 4 and 6. A nice mix of European suburbia and high-density buildings. The road layout for Area 5. Now on to Area 6, the beach resort area. All this is on PMP paths. Some cool modern city buildings next to the ferry. A lighthouse research station. There are cool spots like this one dotted all over Area 6. We have a nice, beautiful beach with sand dunes. Here you see the floating cafe placed on land. Elevated tram line in the background. Lots of detailing within the buildings. Some cool seaside resort CCP assets. Here's the elevated tram line. There's lots of detail around the stops and it looks amazing at night. Biking along the water. Some really nice views from here. Some wall-to-wall as well as mid-century modern and horror Korea. Here's Area 7's road layout. A really nice pedestrian area around this metro station. Biking and tram run under the bridge. Some sweet detailing under the metro line. Connectivity with several pedestrian bridges. Some really nice high-density apartments. In this area, I used 2x4 zoning to create more density by making more houses per block. A more luxurious spot overlooking the water. This park maintenance building is serving as a visitor center for this National Wetlands Park, both pedestrian spots and driving viewpoints. Another nice spot with some height, mostly high density, self-sufficient, and horror Korea, all on pedestrian paths. Across the water, a lovely island with the Panda Sanctuary, temple, and other Asian-themed assets, all on P&P paths. A cool view of the city. I really love the stonework along the island. Some more mid-density type zoning using light density residential. Then we step into some nice height with these apartment complexes. A beautiful hospital and service area. As I was working on those areas, I also built the airport. The runway is another place where I love the stonework. Next on the list is Area 8. Here's the layout. Some nice height with these Heart of Korea high-density commercial buildings. A good amount of high-density residential, office, some unique buildings in this area. Around the metro station, trying to utilize transit-oriented development, similar to Area 7. A lot of detailing in this area around the buildings with beautiful tiling and lighting. Tram and biking run through this area as well, and they connect the two metros together. Now on to Area 9. Metro comes from the airport down to here. I zoned 4x4 lots in the back, then 3x3. Then 2x3 to increase the density as you work your way towards downtown. Another nice modern city center building at the ferry. Some really nice self-sufficient apartments with great detailing. I really like how these piers turned out. They look great and they stand out very, very beautifully. The harbor is next. Here's the layout. Beautiful piers, like I mentioned before. Lots of fishing and great transit down here. The tram line is really well detailed, and it mixes with the harbor, ferry, metro, and biking. The quay looks great, and at each stairway, great detailing as citizens walk across. This fish market is huge and gorgeous, mixed with local and organic produce, and it looks great at night. Downtown is just ahead. Some really great skyline views. Similar epic detailing. The sunken Metro Plaza in the center of a pedestrian downtown area. The Central Park looks great with a nice government center. I love the financial district zoning. Another beautiful tram line between the buildings. Finally, the city stats. Electricity and water look good. Good fire coverage, and crime is at 5%, which is about where my cities land. Education looks great with schools meeting needs, and 3% uneducated, 37% educated, 31% well-educated, and 29% highly educated. Typical for my cities, using Education Boost and Industry 4.0 policies citywide with no worker issues. Health looks good, a bit high on the sick citizens at 36, but I did zone a few residents just inside polluted soil in the harbor by the waste processing center. But that's okay, we have plenty of beds. Death care is fine, child health is good, and elder care looks good as well. Unemployment's a bit high, I usually try to keep it between 5 and 8%, but being a bit high is fine, whereas being a bit on the low side can cause some worker issues. Imports jumped up to 32 from 5, which is a bit alarming for me. Nah, I'm just joking, but still very low. We are exporting close to 5K, which is where I like to be when trying to make some money on exports. Traffic is hovering around 90%, which is solid, and transit is doing pretty good. 10% and 5% of population for citizens and tourists is like my benchmark, and at 108k citizens, we're pretty close. If you add in the 2k bikers in the city, we get close to about 8% on the citizen side and 5% on the tourist side. The zone distribution is interesting in the city. Probably about 60% residential, which is typical for me, 25% office, which is a little high, 5% industry, a little bit low, and 10% commercial, which is actually pretty low. Industries, DLC, and fishing I don't think impact this pie chart, which is where most of my industry is coming from. I didn't zone much commercial as I heavily used unique buildings, all those skyscrapers in downtown, and leisure items from PNP and some of like the new content creator pack stuff. Now, tourism, city attractiveness is 88%, which is pretty good. I typically strive for about 90 to 95%. And we have 4,150 tourists coming to the city, even though 5,200 tourists ride the city transit. So about 1,000 are using the city as a connection point to other cities. That's the city of Avalon. I hope you enjoyed the quick review. Remember, the Let's Play is available for more detailed viewing and should pop up on the screen shortly. I'll see you in the next city. Until then, happy building.